There we are. Hello, Yogi. How are you?
I'm doing well, Bev. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Just to go back to, we had scheduled this call a couple of weeks ago, and I just want to apologize to anybody who came on and it didn't happen, but it's happening now. So, we're talking today about this concept that couples are a team. Very often, when we get triggered, we kind of think that we're talking to our enemy and that we take an adversarial position of there's you out there, there's me here, and there's not enough resources, and only one of us can win. And I've got to protect myself. And that isn't very relational. A more relational way to understand that is, oh my golly, something is stressing us, and how can we manage this together? That's more of the team look at things. What are your thoughts?
I think about teams. What you said is absolutely right, but a lot of that happens subconsciously. I don't think people think about, oh, I don't have enough resources. So I think they intended to have a good relationship, but when things get triggered subconsciously and just automatically, system one kind of kicks in, and they start to just act in a scarce mindset and adversarial mindset. And what's really helpful is to pause and just imagine, even though it doesn't feel true in the moment, but let's say this person is wanting my best. They are on the, imagine that. Just, it doesn't feel that way, by the way, when in the middle of a conflict. But okay, what if they were actually wanting the best for me and they are doing this?
Excuse me.
That really gives me access to a different way of thinking than if I were not to ask this question. So that's kind of the biggest thing I do in the middle of when I'm stressed out
Right.
about things.
Can we just amplify that? Because it's so beautiful what you said. If I can give it a different sort of language, you speak about the knee jerk reaction, first consciousness, which is how we've reacted forever since we were young. And the adult response would be to take that pause and say, can I choose door B? Can I respond in a different way? Because the minute you respond differently, and it's not same old, your partner will respond differently. And I love that you remind us that, and this is what I ask my clients to do, to remember love. Remember why you want to make the repair with this person. Well, duh, you live with them, duh, you love them, right? So I do encourage people to try and remember that, because sometimes that just flies out the window and this person becomes your enemy.
Mm. And I think we said, oh, we want to make it work because we live with them, we love them, and I think a lot of times we might not feel love in the moment. That's, yeah, we love them, but they're being, you know, just annoying at this time, and I've said them 65 times and they still don't get it. It doesn't feel like love, and that's where in my relationship and in people I work with, I think love is, if we make love into an emotion, it becomes very flimsy. At times we don't feel love, and what do we do then? I think I like to view love as a commitment. Like, love is my commitment to this partner, and I will do loving action irrespective of how I feel in the moment sometimes. Right? So I think that's love as a commitment, because emotion of love might not be all the time, might not be present all the time.
Right, right. I love the way Terry Real describes it. He says he could be talking to an audience and say, you know that marital hatred that we all feel sometimes? And he said he's never had somebody come up at the end of a talk say, what do you mean by marital hatred?
We all know that.
We all get it,
We all get it.
we all get it. And if we can just remember that we're not outside of our relationships, we depend on our relationships. It's an ecosystem. We live in that relationship. You can think of it as our house, right? That our relationship is our home. We can pollute, we can throw all our garbage in the living room by yelling, screaming, shouting, whatever. our partner will respond by also throwing his garbage in, by withdrawing, punishing, not communicating. And all that garbage gets thrown into the room until there's no more space for us. And we either move to a different room or we move out of the relationship completely. So we need to clean up constantly. And that means taking that pause.
Taking that pause.
Say, what do you need right now? It's not you said, I said, you said, I said. Putting yourself at the service of your partner. What do you need right now?
And the interesting thing is, I think a couple of times it has happened when I was working with somebody who was going through a divorce, and it's not about mending the relationship, but it's about actually how to go out powerfully. And that was also going. It doesn't mean, by the way, if I'm at the service of partner, this relationship has to work. But what happens is you get a lot of clarity about you and the other person if you are actually not in a knee-jerk reaction mode. You actually are thinking stuff through, you're being mindful, and then sometimes what you get out of that is that this is not a good relationship for us.
Absolutely.
So, and that's a very good direction to go also. Like this person I was talking about, when they were going through divorce, he said at the end of it, he got very good clarity and he's very happy. He was very confused in the beginning, like he wanted to make the relationship work, but the wife didn't want it to work, and there's tension, a lot of tension around that. And even in the end, he was like, I did what I could, and I think I'm really happy with how things are going from this point on. So it doesn't have to. We don't control the outcome of a relationship, but we do control or influence the what we bring to it.
And that's a great point you make, that when you feel that there is nothing more in this relationship for you, to end it in a way that also protects the children. Because children live what they learn, and they see where our parents do repair. And I've never met a client yet who ever saw their parents do any repair, came back together. They'll be watching every every move. They'll be watching, and it's okay if a relationship doesn't work out. But how do we end it?
And especially for children, I mean, now I have an 8-month-old daughter, and I think I'm being a lot sensitive about this. A lot of time, children don't really follow what we say. There's an internal tuning around. They can read us, and I think they really follow. People say body language, but what I feel is also they really follow intuition and there's energy in us. And if we are not kind of feeling all the time upset, tension, angry, even though we might be polite outside, children will get that sense that there's something off here.
Right. I heard somebody once say, I felt that there was a mask behind my mother. I felt she was always wearing a mask. She said happy words, but there was a sadness in her that walked with her.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing for a child to be able to pick up.
Yeah. And it's even more beautiful if the mom could actually remove the mask and be who she is.
Yeah.
In a way.
For sure. I don't think the child had language for it at the time. It came out as the adult, that's what the child felt.
Yes. Speaking of team, I think the basic deal is when we think like we are alone, I think it's very useful to think that my partner is a team until it's not. And then you actually, you are in a relationship until you are. And then when you decide to actually, I'm done, then you actually be done. But a lot of time we get out of the relationship way before we really get out of the relationship. We check out, and that's just not a good place to be. And
right. So one has to be very clear when one works on a relationship, what factors are not allowing you to work. If there's an extramarital affair, if there's violence, if there's any addiction, those things need to be managed before you can do any coupling work.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you, Yogi.
Any parting thoughts about how to strengthen the teams in a relationship?
What do you mean by that? Straighten the team?
Strengthen the
Strengthen the
team,
team.
the feeling of the team in a relationship.
Right. I think by remembering why you're there with that person.
The pause, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I
Taking
think
the pause. Beautiful. Thank you. I think we're on the same page there.
Yeah, I think so. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.